outcast. The reality that Jesus showed extravagant love for those who were outcasts in society is something that we love to talk about. The very notion of the phrase that you've heard before from us, from here, no matter who you are or where you are on life's journey, you're welcome here. It's born out of the understanding of Jesus' love that rejects no one. Today's Bible reading features Jesus' reaction to three who were outcasts in society. There was a tax collector, there was a woman who had been bleeding for 12 years, and a dead girl. In one way or another, each of these three was ostracized. The tax collector was a bottom feeder. A woman bleeding for years was unclean by the standards of the day, and she not only should not have been touched by a rabbi, but also she should have been separated from everyone. That was the custom. That was the code. Dead bodies should never be touched by anyone at all. Now, Matthew, the tax collector, also known as Levi in the Bible, he chose what he did for a living. You know that. The woman, she had done nothing to deserve separation. And all the little girl did was to get sick. And now her family was going to be separated because they were in contact with a dead body. In each case, Jesus obliterated the boundary that was set in favor of love. Here's another example from Matthew 19. It's not even in our story today, but Jesus addressed eunuchs, those who existed on the fringe because their sexuality didn't neatly fit into any particular category. They would be part of the queer community today. And Jesus said this. He said, "For there are eunuchs who were born that way. There are eunuchs who have been made eunuchs by others, and there are those who choose to live like eunuchs for the sake of the kingdom of heaven. The one who can accept this should accept it." Eunuchs lived on the margins. And Jesus said eunuchs were blessed. Now back to today's reading and the other three. The societal answer of Jesus' time was, don't talk to tax collectors. They're bottom feeders, and they've made their beds. And Jesus' response was, follow me. The societal answer of Jesus' time was, don't touch anything dead, you'll become diseased. You'll be unclean. Don't touch anything that has touched anything dead. Jesus' response, let me take your hand and give you life. The societal answer of Jesus' time, women are unclean for 7 days each month. If a woman continually bleeds, she is continually unclean. She must be separated from the community. Jesus' response, take heart, your faith has made you well. In none of the cases did Jesus even acknowledge that the rule that was there that were used to separate and to ostracize. He just obliterated them. He did have some less than kind words for ones who abused the rules in order to keep people out of the community and instead keep them on the fringe. But he didn't have anything to say about these people who were obviously outside of the rules. But let's talk a little more about the woman. Her situation was horrendous, and I cannot speak from a first person to understand this at all. But it was worse back then. She was ill, and she had nowhere to go. She desperately wanted to be part of the community, but she was ostracized. She knew what it was to be part of community. How did she know? How do I know that she knew? It's because of what she did. She risked punishment to reach out to touch the fringe of Jesus' cloak. Now, in this story today, it's not as clear, but in the other Gospels, there's more to this story. Before this woman had been marginalized, she would have known what it meant to be part of a faith community. When the rabbi would walk through town or walk through the synagogue, they would wear tassels on their robes. Similar to when I wear a pastoral robe and there's little tassels on the end of the stoles. But maybe you have seen this before. A rabbi walking through and there's long flowing robes and there's little tassels that sort of hang. The hem of the garment. Those tassels have a name. They're called tzitzit. And the people would reach out and think that if they could just touch the tzitzit, they would get a blessing. It still happens today, reaching out to touch that. The ritual gave them a sense of belonging, knowing that they were part of the community, and knowing that if they needed healing, that maybe it would come just from touching that. And there he was, Jesus walking the streets with those tassels on. If I can just reach him and touch the fringe of his cloak, if I can touch the tzitzit, I know that I will be healed. I will be made whole again. I will be restored. I don't know anything about supernatural powers coming from tassels on a cloak, but I do believe in the healing, restoring, reviving, refreshing, and renewing love of Jesus. This woman was an outcast for a reason that should never have been used to marginalize her. And today we would never do anything like that, right? We do, and we have found more and more reasons to marginalize people. And we've experienced more reasons to be ostracized. But Jesus didn't marginalize people. Neither did he set up a timetable for any of the ones he healed or any he called to be disciples for what changes would happen in their lives and when they would happen, how they would happen. He just said, "Your faith has made you well. Follow me." Today, you may be thinking about people or groups of people that maybe you have treated with disdain or disrespect because of some societal rules or because of prejudices that we may not think that we have, but they're there nonetheless. Maybe you've treated those who live in some way on the fringe with disdain. And as you reach out to touch the fringe of Jesus' cloak, he says, "Your faith has made you well." Or today you may be thinking about your life, feeling ostracized, wounded, desperately wanting healing. You may think that as soon as you can get things together, Jesus will make you whole. You may think that as soon as you can get things together, you can be part of God's community. You feel as if you live on the fringe of what is considered to be acceptable by those in power. And as you reach out to touch the fringe of Jesus' cloak, he says, "Follow me. Come back to life." Because Jesus offers life, healing, wholeness, restoration, love to everyone. Not only to, but undoubtedly to those who are or feel like they are marginalized and ostracized. Jesus offers healing, wholeness, restoration, love. Jesus offers life. As any and all who reach out to touch the fringe. Amen.